This is the Sony A7S III. It is a camera that I've had for only 2 weeks. It's brand new and has an extremely long wait list to purchase. I ordered it back in June or July 28th, and it still took a while to get. But after only 2 weeks, it had a problem. Basically, the problem is it would not boot. It would constantly go through a boot loop. So I couldn't power the camera on. I couldn't even get it registered with the computer to connect via USB to do a firmware update. I couldn't do anything. I contacted B&H Photo. They said they're super backed up. There's no way for them to replace it, but they could give me a refund and then I could go out and try to find one myself. So I was at the point where I was just going to buy a different camera just because of the experience that I've had with this one. But I could not give up on trying to figure out a way to get this thing to work. And what I mean by that is that I was turning it on while pressing and holding every single button on here. I was basically just smashing keys and turning it on and off and removing and replacing the battery and just doing anything and everything I could that I thought might bring up some kind of a service or a diagnostic window or anything. I mean, I'm just shooting in the wind, you know? Just hoping that I find something that would work. And if you have that same exact experience where you're doing the same thing I am and you press and hold the play button here, which allows you to play back, you know, photos and videos that you've taken, and then you switch it on, it will pop up a menu that basically says, see if it'll do it. It'll pop this up, importing MAC address. At first, when this popped up, this was a big deal. I tried to go to the menu, but it would crash again and go back into the boot loop. So at that point, I knew I was onto something. So my next step was to turn the camera on with the fresh battery install. Every time you do this, you pull the battery and put it back in. And basically, you spam the play button. You don't hold it, you spam it. And as soon as the screen pops up and says accessing, you stop spamming. If you keep spamming, it'll unaccess the play menu, it'll go back to the boot loop, and you're gonna have to try again. So I'll give an example, see if it'll still do it for me. Turn the camera on, spam the play button. Okay, well, it didn't see it because it went like almost instantaneously. Let's try that again. Spam the play button. Okay, well, it doesn't do it. Unfortunately, because the troubleshooting on this took so long, I didn't get the repair because, honestly, I didn't even know it worked. So, circling back, replace the battery, brand new, power it on. As soon as you power it on, spam the button. As soon as the screen says accessing, stop pushing the button. It's going to come to a thing that's going to have the photos in there, or in my case, I didn't have any photos, but that doesn't matter. Don't do anything with that screen except hit menu. Once you're past that screen, it'll let you into the regular menu. And that's where you're going to go down to your options. You're going to go to USB. You're going to change the connection from auto, which is what it's set on normally, to mass storage. And then you're going to plug this in to your computer to see if it's recognized. If it is recognized, you're going to go to the Sony website. You're going to download the firmware software. It's Mac and Windows supported. I use the Windows. And you're going to try to run it. Now, most likely, it's not going to recognize it. But you'll still be in your menu system. You're going to unplug the cable. Don't press any other buttons, because if you go out of the menu system, you're going to get stuck in your boot loop again. You're going to unplug the cable, give it a second, plug it back in, and then run through the firmware update. If your computer recognizes it, it's going to update it from probably version 1.01 to 1.02. At least that's what it was when I did it. And then as soon as that's finished, it'll reboot, and all of a sudden, the camera works again. I wish I would have got more footage, but believe me, this was many hours of troubleshooting and trying different things and not really thinking anything was going to work, but that was the secret to get this to work. So you have to trick your camera into the menu. Because where it was stuck for me, I'm going to take the lens off here, just kind of crooked there. As soon as it initializes, that's the image stabilization, that's the resting place. As soon as the camera initializes, it straightens that out, which is all completely normal. But every time I did that, it would reboot. Now, I don't know if this is a hardware issue, maybe I have a bad motherboard, or because the firmware fixed it, if it was just a firmware glitch. But if you have the same problem, that's how you fix it.